and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate if you jump on here live here on this Monday holiday for some people. Monday. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. I wanted to jump on here and make sure that I'm done before the national championship game starts. Of course, they advertise it at 7:30, so it won't start till at least 7:45. So I know I have plenty of time. But I want to apologize for not doing a video the last 3 days. But I'm sure you can tell by my voice why I have not been on here. About lunchtime Friday, my head all of a sudden felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Now, physically, I feel fantastic. I've had no aches, no pains, nothing. Hey there, Marcus. Glad to have you here as always. And hey there, Kevron. Glad to have you here. As always, thank y'all so much for checking in on this Monday evening. I've had no aches, no pains, no hurts, no ailments, nothing. But my head just all of a sudden Friday started feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. So my voice is scratchy. So I've been sounding like Steve Urkel ever since Friday. So I tried my best to wait as long as I could. I didn't want to come on here and make folks think I'm sick. I guess I'm sick to a certain extent, whereas my voice sounds weird, sounds odd, and my head feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. But I feel fantastic. I've not had a fever. I feel great. Everything's normal except for my voice. So that's why I have not been on here the last 3 days. Didn't want anybody to panic thinking that I'm miserable. I'm not. I feel fantastic. I always say God don't punish sexy people. That's why I feel great. Just have a bad head cold. But it's been 3 days. I didn't want to wait any longer. So that's where I've been the last 3 days. Hopefully by tomorrow my voice will be back to normal as well. So I can stop sounding like Jaleel White when he played the Steve Urkel character on Family Matters, which is the greatest comedy of all time back in the mid to late 90s. So since I have not done a video since Thursday, tonight we're going to be all over the place. Want to quickly say that I know I did a video Thursday talking about tonight's game, but in case you didn't see it, I think Indiana wins tonight. Hey there, Tanya. Glad to have you here. And Tanya, I think it's the first time I've seen your name in the comment section. If it is your first time being here for whatever reason made you stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Tell your friends, tell your family about the channel. And make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And hey there, I'm going to guess that's Foe. Glad to have you here on this Monday evening. And Tanya, I thought it was your first time being here with Tanya. Wherever you are watching tonight, I greatly appreciate it. And if you like any kind of major sport, there's something here on the channel for you. We talk football, baseball, basketball at the collegiate level, and the professional level. We also talk wrestling. We talk NASCAR. And I do top 10 countdowns every week. And sometimes those are not about sports in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So you never know what you might find here on the channel. So Tanya, thank you for stopping by. And Foe, if it's your first time being here for whatever reason made you stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. But I picked Indiana to win last Thursday, and I'll still pick Indiana to win. But, Miami can win, but Miami's going to have to play mistake-free football, slow the game down tremendously. They can't have any turnovers. They're going to have to play their A-plus game, and Indiana's going to have to play a C- or F game for the game to be close. But Indiana's just been so fundamentally sound all year long that it's hard to imagine all of a sudden the last game of the year they're going to play different. I've never seen a defense be in the right spot every single play all year long, like Indiana has been. I just hope that since it's a national championship game, the game is close. Nobody wants to wait for a national title game and then the final score be 47-3. So hopefully it's close, but I think Indiana wins the game. But I'll tell you what, these playoffs now last so long that if you're not a big, huge sports fan and you've been watching sports today or listening to sports today, you about forget that is the national championship game because of all the coaching hirings and firings and all the stuff with the Big Ten Conference and the SEC Conference and all the stuff with the NIL, the transfer portal, and all that kind of good stuff. The title game almost gets overlooked. It's almost like everybody's already moved on to next season because the transfer portal window closed on Friday. So all the talk over the weekend has been about the portal and what teams are going to look like next year, and no mention of the fact that this year is not quite over with. So hopefully it's a good game, but I think Indiana wins the game. Marcus, I hope you're right. I hope Miami wins. I just think Indiana is too fundamentally sound. Indiana wins the football game, but I hope Miami wins the game. And NASCAR is back. I've been talking about this, the last few weeks because the preseason, which I will still watch it, Clash is in less than 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks from yesterday. It's coming up on Sunday, February the 1st, and then 2 weeks after that, on the 15th, is the Daytona 500. But the horsepower went from 670 to 750 in the off season, so the cars are going to go much, much faster. They brought back actual true manufacturers now. You can look and tell which cars are a Ford, which cars are a Chevy, and which cars are Toyota, not by the symbol, but by the actual make and design of the car. North Wilkesboro is back on the schedule, so I'm so excited about NASCAR finally being back. I have not been this excited about a season in a long time. I get excited every season, but not like I am this season. I am ready for the season to start. Now, the Royal Rumble is also coming. It's in less than 2 weeks. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday on January 31st. And the odd thing about this year's Rumble is, it's less than 2 weeks away. Only one more Raw was left because today's Raw is already aired because of being overseas. So only one more Raw until the Rumble. And typically by this time, there's already been half the superstars announced. This year, not a whole lot. The only match announced so far is the Rumble. And typically, by the time it gets this close, you hear a lot of talk about it. And for some reason this year, there's just not. Not quite sure why, but there's not. It's been a while since you watched NASCAR. Marcus, now's the time to get back into it because I'm telling you, the sport is growing. And the guy in charge now has said that NASCAR admits they messed up years ago by changing some of the things they changed. And he has said that's his duty to get the sport back to where it used to be. And you can tell by them bringing North Wilkesboro back and then bringing Rockingham back. And now Dodge is back in the Truck Series this year. I expect to see Dodge back probably in the Cup Series next year. This year it's Truck. It'll be Cup if not next year, 2 years from now. And yes, Kyle Busch is still driving. This will be his fourth season in the number 8 car for Richard Childress Racing. It's the last year of his contract. He has not won a race since 2023 with Childress, so he has not won a race the last 2 years. If they don't show big improvement this year, this will be his last year for Childress. A lot of folks think he's retiring. I don't believe that. He'll be 41 in May. He's got a son that's 11 years old that's racing. I think Kyle's going to stick around till his son gets in Cup. And then I think when his son gets in Cup, he'll retire. That'll be about 7 more years. I don't see him retiring before then. I could possibly see him going down to the Truck Series in about 5 years when his son gets old enough to drive a truck, and he could race one season with his son in the truck, and Kyle could compete for the Truck Series championship and be the first ever driver to win a Truck Series title, and a Rally Series title, and a Cup Series title. But I don't think he's hiring yet. But it's been a struggle with Richard Childress Racing, and Kyle didn't forget how to drive, so it's been completely the car and the team. So if they don't show massive improvement this year, it'll be his last year with Richard Childress Racing. But I don't think it's his last year in the Cup Series. And he's my favorite driver, Marcus. And that's why I hate to see him struggling the way he has, because I'm a huge Kyle Busch fan. Now, when he retires, I'll find another driver to support. But as long as he's driving, he'll be my favorite. But when he first started years ago, people didn't know anything about him and just all of a sudden hated Kyle Busch. So the fact that everybody else hated Kyle Busch made me become a huge Kyle Busch fan. So he is my favorite driver. Fourth year in the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing. But we saw another NFL coach get fired today when McDermott got fired by the Bills. And that was a firing you pretty much saw coming unless the Bills won the whole thing, because it's like I always say, when you have a franchise player like the Bills have with Josh Allen, who they think is the greatest quarterback ever, I disagree, but the Bills think that. So when you have a player like that and you're not winning, it's either going to be the coach or the player. Coaches don't make what players make, and coaches don't get the contracts players get. So when you're not winning, one of them has to go, and it's always the coach. But the Bills are strange because I think Josh Allen's overrated myself. I always have. But he's not bad. I don't think he can win a Super Bowl like it is now. But with great talent around him, he can. But every time the Bills get good defensive players, they let them go. When they get great receivers, they let them go. When they get great linemen, they let them go. Anybody worth a darn, they let go. So it's pretty much just Josh Allen, and then they wonder why they're not winning. Well, they've got to get some help around Josh Allen. And Marcus, I'm not sure. I was fixing to bring that up about the Falcons hiring Kevin Stefanski. That's one job been filled. The other job been filled is John Harbaugh is now with the New York Giants. I don't think Kevin Stefanski is any better than Raheem Morris. I don't think he's any better than Arthur Smith. The Falcons keep firing coaches to replace somebody who is just like the guy they just fired. Makes no sense. Now, Stefanski is better than Raheem Morris with the fact that, you at least see Stefanski on the sidelines with the clipboard sometimes. Raheem Morris never talked in the headset, never joined in the team huddles, didn't carry around the clipboard, never said a word, just stood there. So I'm not sure what Raheem Morris did on game day. Whatever it wasn't being a coach. But at least with Stefanski, he is trying to coach. Maybe not so successful, but at least trying to coach. But it's kind of hard to tell because the Browns have an amazing defense, but their offense would make you poke your eyeballs out. So we really don't know what kind of coach Stefanski could be until we see him with a good offense and a good defense. But who's going to call plays for the Falcons offense? I guess, we'll find out, and then we'll know what kind of coach Stefanski is. I don't think he's better than Raheem Morris, but he can't be any worse than Raheem Morris. But with the Browns roster, it's kind of hard to tell because you look at their roster and, they were only going to win 5 or 6 games on a year-in, year-out basis. And the Falcons have better talent than the Browns do. So maybe Stefanski will prove me wrong, but so far I say he's about the same caliber coach as Raheem Morris. He's going to get you to about 7 or 8 wins, and that's it. But that division's so bad the Falcons should slip up and win it one day just because of how hideous it is. And they ain't got to be any good, but somebody's got to win a terrible division. The NBA is about the halfway point of the season. I know they call the All-Star break the halfway point, but by the time the All-Star break gets here, most teams have played 55 or 60 games. I'm talking about as far as just the amount of games they've played so far. They're at about the halfway point, and my Pelicans are terrible. They're probably not going to win 20 games. If so, they're barely going to win 20 games. You just hope Falcons do better this year. I see the Browns making the playoffs in about 2 to 3 years. The Browns got a long way to go. If the Browns could get some help, they've got a good enough defense to where they can win, but the Browns are another fine example of folks that say defense wins championships. That's garbage. If defense won championships, the Browns wouldn't suck so bad because the Browns have an amazing defense. But when you can't score, having a good defense does you no good, and the Browns can't score. If they can find one or two good receivers, a couple good offensive linemen, a quarterback that can throw more than 10 yards, and a running back, they've got a chance. But they got to get all that before that even begins to think about happening. Excuse me. But that could eventually happen. You know, Deshaun Watson's back next year. He's still on their roster. He ain't been worth a darn in 5 years. If I was the Browns, I'd go ahead and cut him. I don't think Shadur Sanders is any better than Deshaun Watson is, but at least with Shadur Sanders, you're not sure yet. With Deshaun Watson, you know what he is. You've seen it. He's sucked for the last 5 years. Why they keep that man on their roster, I don't know. What I do know is because of the fact they can't trade him because nobody wants a quarterback that sucks that bad. And the contract he's got, you don't want to cut somebody and just eat that kind of money. But he sucks so bad, I say to eat the money. Go ahead and cut him. And speaking of sucking and cutting, and my Pelicans, you know, they had 3 good players, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, and Zion Williamson. They decide to trade McCollum, trade Ingram, and they keep Zion. Now, I know Zion's the youngest of the 3, but those 3 players all have history of injury problems. None of those 3 players can stay healthy. They never have. But of those 3, Zion is the one that misses the most games every year. Since Zion's been in the league, if you look at the amount of games he's played compared to the amount of games the Pelicans have played, Zion has missed more games than he's played. So why the man's on the roster still, I have no idea. Bite the bullet. You made a terrible draft choice. Cut the man. Start over again. He's your best player, but he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the court, and you suck. Go ahead and either trade him or cut him and start over again because right now they're awful, and they got a long way to go. And, you know, I always talk about here on the channel about how the whole conference stuff never makes no sense to me. I never have understood why college football fans are the way they are about the whole conference thing. Never made no sense to me. As a Braves fan, if the Braves miss the playoffs, I don't say, well, I'll pull for the Phillies because they're in the Braves division. Speaking of the Pelicans, if they miss the playoffs, I don't say, well, I'll pull for the Rockets because they're in the Pelicans division. When I'm watching NASCAR, I don't say, well, I'll pull for Austin Dillon because he's Kyle Busch's teammate. I don't do that. But for some reason, college football fans love to do this conference stuff, and I've never understood it, never have, never will. The older I get, the dumber it sounds. But, you know, the SEC has long thought they were the best conference in America, and I've said forever that's not true. It's a bunch of hogwash. I didn't care because I don't care about conferences. I don't care about the ACC. If it ain't Clemson, I don't care. The year Florida State won the national championship, my Tigers got nothing out of it. If Miami wins tonight, my Tigers get nothing out of it. And if you don't help my team, I don't care what you do. But the SEC has long thought they're the best conference in football. They never have been, but they've always thought they were. But now that they can no longer cheat because everybody can pay players, now it's obvious they're not the best conference in football. What happened was you had programs like Georgia and Alabama and LSU and Auburn who were illegally paying players, so they were illegally getting the best players in America. And that's why they were getting them, because they were cheating. Well, now all of a sudden, it's fair to pay players, so all those great players those teams are getting, they're not getting. So now it's obvious they're not the best conference. You're finna have the Big Ten win their third straight national championship from their third straight team. And now the SEC every year tries to wiggle their way around getting more teams in the playoffs. Well, when you have half the playoff field and you still can't win a national championship, it should be obvious that you don't have the best conference. But again, I don't know why it matters. I've never understood it. I never will understand it. There's no such thing as a dominant conference. Now, can one conference be better? Yes. But even when the SEC thought they were so great, you still had Kentucky, who sucked. You had all those years of Vanderbilt, who sucked. Mississippi State sucked. Arkansas sucked. South Carolina, most years, they suck. But yet, they act like if you play in that conference, every team you play is good. That's not so. Nobody's ever played 8 or 9 conference games, and everybody you play is good. Look at the Big Ten right now. Even if Indiana wins tonight, yes, it's the Big Ten's third straight national title from third straight team. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, guess what? Minnesota still sucks. Rutgers still sucks. Maryland still sucks. Northwestern still sucks. So it's not like, even though the Big Ten might be the best conference in America, it's not like when you play in the Big Ten, all 9 of your games are good. They're not. If you play Rutgers, that's an automatic win. If you play Minnesota, if you're halfway decent, that's an automatic win. If you play Maryland, that's an automatic win. So it's not like everybody in the Big Ten's good. They're not. No conference, top to bottom, has every team that's good. That's never happened. That's never going to happen. But when these conferences, mainly the SEC, realize that that crap don't matter, it'll be so much better, because the SEC has their mindset on they're the best conference. And then when they get proven wrong, they want to change all these rules and kick out this team and kick out this team and put this team in, only to make them look better. They wanted the playoffs to expand, for them to get more teams in, hoping it gives them more chances to win the national championship, when all it did was give them more teams to get beat. Why? Because they're overrated. But who cares? If you don't have the best team, it doesn't matter. So when these conferences figure this stuff out, it'll be so much easier. And it cracks me up every time I turn on the radio and they're talking about conferences and the SEC trying to change another rule, trying to make themselves look better and give themselves more benefit. I don't understand it, don't get it, never will. The NFL this weekend, we're going to have the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. AFC, New England Patriots. And the Denver Broncos, NFC, St. Louis Rams, and Seattle Seahawks. I think I said St. Louis Rams. They are now, of course, the Los Angeles Rams, St. Louis, for many, many years. I would pick the Broncos to win the whole thing, but now that Bo Nix is out, it's hard for me to see Jarrett Stidham coming in and winning one game, let alone 2. I'd love to see Seattle win it, because Seattle's never won one. Well, they have, but it's been a while. But, they have not won one with the current, regime. And the Rams just won one, a couple of years ago. And, of course, the Patriots, won all those with Tom Brady. And the Broncos have won some, back in the day. So of the 4 teams left, I guess Seattle will be the team that I most hope would win one. But I expect the Rams to win, and I think I said here on the channel back a few weeks ago before the playoffs started that if I had to pick a team, it'd be the Rams. So that's who I'll stick with. But I was hoping to see Bo Nix stay healthy and see the Rams play the Broncos with a healthy Stafford and a healthy Nix. But I don't think Denver gets past New England with Jarrett Stidham, because New England's got an amazing defense. And I don't know if Denver can score more than 10 with Jarrett Stidham. But any thoughts on any of this? Hey there, Melvin. Glad to have you back. It's been a while since I've seen you here on the channel, so glad to have you back. You think the Rams win? I do too, Marcus, and I expect the Patriots as well. So we'll have 2 teams that have a lot of history of Super Bowls with the Rams and the Patriots, if that's who it is, and I think it will be who it is. I would love to see Seattle make it, because we got to remember that Seattle's quarterback, Sam Darnold, is one of those quarterbacks that everybody says he can't win in the playoffs in big games. He disappears. So I'd love to see him come out and prove the whole world wrong, but I think the Rams are just the better team. And again, Melvin, glad to have you back. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I watched a movie about Viagra. It was uplifting. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3.